The fight world erupted when it was announced that Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation turned boxer, would be facing the one and only Mike Tyson in the ring. For years, Jake Paul had been cherry-picking his opponents, taking on retired athletes, non-boxers, and older fighters to build his 9-1 record. But this time, Paul took a step too far. Facing Iron Mike Tyson, one of the most feared and revered boxers in history, was not just another exhibition match. It was a test that would determine whether Paul had what it took to truly stand among the legends. From the moment the fight was announced, fans knew this was going to be different from Paul's previous bouts. Mike Tyson, although retired and now 58 years old, was not someone to take lightly. Known for his ferocity, unmatched power, and a ring IQ honed over decades, Tyson had made his mark on the sport long ago, and stepping into the ring with him was no small feat. Even at an advanced age, Tyson's presence alone made it clear that this would not be just another easy win for Paul. On fight night, the atmosphere was electric. The tale of the tape told a story of two fighters with very different backgrounds. At 27 years old, standing at 6'1" and weighing 200 pounds, Jake Paul seemed to have the physical advantage over Tyson, who stood at 5'10" and weighed 220 pounds. But as any seasoned boxing fan knows, height and weight don't tell the whole story. Experience, skill, and the ability to stay composed under pressure are the real keys to success in the ring, and in those areas, Tyson held a clear advantage. As the bell rang to signal the beginning of the fight, it became immediately clear that Jake Paul was in over his head. Tyson, despite his age, moved with precision and purpose. His footwork was sharp, his head movement was still lightning quick, and every punch he threw was packed with the same ferocity that made him a heavyweight champion. From the outset, Tyson went on the offensive, using his signature bobbing and weaving to close the distance between himself and Paul. Paul, who had built his career on fighting lesser opponents, was visibly unprepared for the intensity that Tyson brought into the ring. Tyson immediately went to work, attacking Paul's body with devastating shots. It was a classic Tyson tactic: punish the body to force the opponent to drop their guard, then go for the knockout. Despite Paul's attempts to maintain distance using his jab, Tyson's head movement rendered those efforts useless. Within the first minute, Paul was already in survival mode, holding on in clinches to buy time as Tyson's relentless pressure overwhelmed him. The end came quickly and brutally. After absorbing several punishing blows to his midsection, Paul threw a desperate right hand in an attempt to catch Tyson off guard. But Tyson, a master tactician, saw it coming. He dodged the punch, shifted his weight, and delivered a crushing right hand of his own that landed flush on Paul's jaw. The impact was immediate. Paul crumpled to the canvas, knocked unconscious before he even hit the ground. The referee didn't even bother with a count. The fight was over. Mike Tyson had knocked Jake Paul out in dramatic fashion in the first round, ending the bout at 2 minutes and 32 seconds. The knockout was a definitive statement. For years, boxing purists had criticized the rise of social media influencers in the sport, arguing that the likes of Jake Paul had turned boxing into a sideshow where spectacle mattered more than skill. Tyson's knockout of Paul was a reminder of what true boxing greatness looks like. It was a brutal demonstration that the ring is no place for pretenders. Boxing is not a game, and it takes more than fame and followers to succeed against a real fighter. For Jake Paul, the defeat was a humbling experience. His 9-1 record, built on carefully selected opponents, meant nothing in the face of a true legend. In the days leading up to the fight, Paul had exuded confidence, engaging in his trademark trash talk and bravado. But as he lay on the canvas, the reality of his situation became clear. His dreams of boxing glory had been shattered by a single punch from a man who, even at 58 years old, was still leagues ahead of him in every aspect of the sport. Mike Tyson's victory was more than just another win. It was a reaffirmation of his legacy. Despite being far removed from his prime, Tyson showed that he still possessed the power, skill, and ring intelligence that made him one of the most feared fighters in history. The fight was a testament to Tyson's enduring greatness, and the knockout of Paul was a highlight reel moment that will be replayed for generations. The bout also reignited discussions within the boxing community about the ethics of pairing older legends like Tyson against younger fighters like Paul. While Tyson's victory was celebrated by many, it also raised concerns about what could have happened had the fight gone differently. For all his toughness, Tyson is still 58 years old, and the risks of injury in a brutal sport like boxing are ever present. Some question whether the fight should have been sanctioned at all, but in the end, Tyson proved that he was more than capable of holding his own, even against a much younger opponent. The aftermath of the fight had a profound impact on the boxing world. For those who had grown tired of the spectacle-driven exhibition matches and celebrity fights, Tyson's victory was a breath of fresh air. It was a reminder of what boxing is supposed to be, a test of skill, heart, and endurance, where the best fighters rise to the top based on merit, not fame. Tyson's performance was a throwback to an earlier era of boxing, a time when fighters earned their place through hard work and dedication, not social media clout. For Jake Paul, the loss was a turning point. He had built his career on the notion that he could transition from YouTube stardom to boxing glory, but Tyson's punch had shattered that illusion. Now Paul faced a choice: continue down the path of spectacle fights and hand-picked opponents, or step back, dedicate himself to real training, and prove that he could compete with legitimate fighters. The latter option would require a level of humility and commitment that Paul had yet to demonstrate, but if he wanted to be taken seriously in the boxing world, it was the only path forward. The fight also had broader implications for the sport of boxing itself. As more social media influencers venture into combat sports, Tyson's victory served as a stark reminder of the difference between entertainment and real competition. Boxing is not just about making money or generating views. It is a sport with a rich history built on a foundation of respect, discipline, and honor. Tyson's win was a call to return to those values, a reminder that the ring is a place where true fighters earn their place, not just another stage for internet celebrities to boost their brands. In the aftermath of the fight, the conversation among boxing fans and analysts was dominated by Tyson's performance. Despite his age, he had demonstrated that greatness in the ring is not something that fades with time. His ability to outclass a much younger opponent spoke volumes about the level of skill and experience required to succeed in the sport. For younger fighters, Tyson's victory was a lesson. No matter how many followers you have or how many exhibition matches you've won, there is no substitute for real experience and dedication in the ring. Jake Paul, on the other hand, was left to pick up the pieces. For years, he had been one of the most polarizing figures in the boxing world, with fans and critics alike questioning the legitimacy of his career. After his knockout loss to Tyson, those questions only intensified. Could Paul really make it as a boxer, or was he simply a product of the social media era, more focused on fame and spectacle than the hard work required to succeed?